Can you survive in Germany without speaking any German? The answer is yes and no. I moved to Germany without speaking any German, and I'm going to tell you now 7 reasons why you should not do the same. Hello everyone, my name is Cindy. I'm from my life in Germany. On my website, you can find all the information you need about studying, working, and living in Germany. I come from Hong Kong, and in Hong Kong, the official languages are Chinese and English. That's why I am so used to having everything always in both languages. For example, all the government letters or product descriptions in the supermarket and so on. And I didn't realize that that might not be the case when I moved to another country. Unfortunately, in Germany, everything is only in German. So, can you survive in Germany without speaking any German? Yes, when you only want to stay in Germany for a short period of time. For example, if you plan to come to Germany to study for half a year or 1 year, then you will probably get around with it without speaking much German. However, if you want to come to Germany for long term, or if you want to have a future in Germany, then you definitely need to learn German. I've heard many other people saying that you don't need to learn German when you live in Germany. I don't know why they say that, but I can tell you that in my opinion, that is definitely not true. Yes, many people can speak English in Germany, but you are going to have all kinds of problems if you want to establish your life in Germany, but you cannot understand the German language. In Hong Kong, if we see other foreigners, we will always talk with them in English first. We will never expect a foreigner to talk with us in Chinese. In Germany, it is different. Even though I do not look like a German person at all, if some other people see me on the street or in a shop, they will always talk with me in German first. In the beginning, I really couldn't understand why. Why did they do that to me? Couldn't they see that I'm a foreigner? I only knew later on that there are many Asian-looking people who grew up in Germany. For example, people with Vietnamese origins, and they have German as their mother language. So it can be quite rude if the people talk with someone in English just because they see an Asian face, while this other person may actually be able to speak fluent or even native German. So now let's talk about the 7 reasons why you should learn German when you live in Germany. I felt like I was a disabled person when I lived in Germany and could not speak German. I am not exaggerating. I couldn't understand people and I couldn't talk either. I don't know how many times I had this feeling when I was hanging out with some other people and they were only talking in German, even though they knew that I couldn't understand them. I knew that it was hard for them to talk in English with me sometimes, especially when we were in a bigger group. It could happen sometimes that they talk a little bit in English, but then they switch back to German and totally forgotten about me being there. I wouldn't blame them. Of course, it was easier for them to talk in their mother language. But this situation made me hate myself. I blamed myself for not being able to speak German. However, this actually made me even more motivated to learn German. Because I understood that nobody could take care of my feeling all the time. The only way out was that I learned to at least understand what people were talking about. So, if you are having the same feeling now, I can give you 3 pieces of advice. Learn German, and learn German. Do you know what was the scariest thing for me in Germany when I went home? It was to find letters in my post box. It was like a nightmare because all the letters were only in German. For example, letters from my bank, from the government, from my insurance company, and so on. And I couldn't understand any of them. Every time when I went home, I was so scared to look into my post box. The worst thing was that sometimes I saw an euro amount in my letter, and I had no idea if that was something that I had to pay for. Luckily, I was always living with some other German students, so they could help me out. If that happens to you, you can also ask your colleagues or other local students for help. Or You can also just take a picture of your letter and translate it with Google. In Germany, house parties are very common. I moved to Germany alone and I really wanted to make some new friends. So every time when I got some party invitations, I was very happy. However, I was also very scared at the same time when I got the invitation. I was not thinking so much about the party itself, but I was worried if I could talk with someone in English in the party. I didn't want to go to a party where I couldn't communicate with anyone, because then I wouldn't have any fun and I wouldn't meet any new people like that. And I would only feel very bad afterwards. So I was really worried about something like that. This one is probably the worst one. If you're in Germany already, you know that you need a lot of paperwork. I mean, a lot. You will have to visit many different government offices to register your address, to get your visa, and to get a paper from every one of them. And the worst part is that even the foreigners' visa office didn't speak English to me. I think it doesn't make sense. I mean, how can they suppose all the foreigners who just arrived in Germany can speak German? But hey, welcome to Germany. It is how it is. You are supposed to speak German no matter what. I didn't think about this problem until I went to a supermarket in Germany. Is this for my face or for my body? Sometimes there are many different languages on the product description, like Hungarian, Polish, or Greek, but just no English is on there. For me, it was a big challenge to find a job without speaking German. Back then, when I was looking for a job, I didn't really speak much German, and most of the companies require their employees to speak at least intermediate German. I sent out more than 100 applications, and I only got 3 interview chances in the end. Luckily, I got a job in the end, but it was a very frustrating process. Looking for a flat is extremely difficult in Germany for both the foreigners and also for local people. So if you do not speak German, then your chance will even be lower. Of course, many landlords prefer to find someone who can speak some German so that they can communicate with each other better. For me, looking for my flat was almost as difficult as looking for my job. It was an extremely stressful process. Luckily, in the end, I found my apartment through a friend. So it is very important for you to know more people in Germany. You might find your apartment through a friend of a friend of a friend. So now you know about the 7 reasons why you should learn German when you live in Germany. These are just some of the main problems that I can think of. If you do not speak German, you will have all kinds of problems when you live in Germany, like making friends, integrating into society, feeling good, or having a good life in Germany in general. So I would highly recommend you to study German before coming to Germany, or at least to learn German as fast as possible once you are in Germany. If you say, well, I will only be in Germany for 6 months and I don't want to learn the language, correct, you will be fine. You can easily meet other foreigners in Germany, speak English with them, and live in your English bubble. Many people did not believe me when I told them so, and they told me, oh, many German people can speak English anyway. Oh yeah, you will not feel the problem so much if you are just traveling in Germany. Traveling in Germany is completely different from living in Germany. If you want to live in Germany for a long time, then you need to learn German. You must. This will really help you to have a better life in Germany. Trust me, you really need that. So that's it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a great day. Cheers!